Kyrie and the Mavs rallied to topple the Kings. Kyrie goes for 31, 19 in the fourth. Here's the standings. That shot was 50 feet in the air.
That was crazy.
Clippers, Warriors, Lakers, Pelicans, Wolves, Thunder. Then I finally get to the Mavs. But, like Kyrie says, there is a glimmer of hope. Long story short, Mavs need to win out and the Thunder need to lose one. Nick, they were your team winning the finals, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Rising like the Mavs playoff chances from the ashes.
That's Phoenix.
Here's right. Oh, that's well done,
That's why I did go to Jeopardy.
Okay. So here's the deal. The Mavs, in order to make the actual playoffs, need to win 5 consecutive elimination games and have Oklahoma City lose once. They needed to win yesterday. Check. Mm-hmm. They need to win their next 2. I believe they will. They need Oklahoma City to lose once. That's going to be the tougher part. Then they would have to beat probably Minnesota and then either New Orleans, the Lakers, the Warriors, whomever is in the top half of that 7-8. The odds of all of those things happening, the Mavs not having a spit up on themselves game, quite low.
Right.
With that part said, if they were to win those 5 straight elimination games, Brew, I absolutely believe they can beat Denver. Because they would be playing their best basketball of the year. They would be feeling great. Denver right now, coach is calling them out, calling them soft. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's a good matchup for the Nuggets because Kyrie or Luka would just try to get Jokic involved as many pick and rolls as possible. So that to me, if all of a sudden they had the 6th ever 8-1 upset and you beat a guy who's won a few MVPs, kind of salvage the season. You make round 2, see what it is, and I think they could give Denver trouble. But I don't think they're going to go, perfect 5 games in a row, which is what they need.
Yeah, look, they can make the play-in still. I don't mean can. We know they mathematically can. But they play Chicago and San Antonio.
So their part of going 2-0 should happen.
I mean, Chicago could give them some issues if they try to win.
Chicago's locked in, though, with the 10, so they might
relax.
Just before you move on, do you think there's any chance Popovich is like, you know what, guys, let's win this one?
I think Popovich was trying. But
nah.
Here's the thing. The Spurs, the Rockets, and the Pistons, because of the lottery flattening, they have been locked into the bottom 3, and whether you're 1, 2, or 3, your odds are the exact same.
But
so
you're
the last
just saying to knock out the Mavs.
Right, no,
could the Spurs kind of just...
I mean, look, I would. If I were in his position, I would go for it.
My point is those 3 teams have not been incentivized to lose for a couple weeks because they can't improve their lottery odds.
Last hurrah.
Right. The Spurs are losing not because they want to lose. They're losing because they don't have good players.
They're a bad team. But Oklahoma City plays Utah, which, as we saw, almost beat the Lakers. And Memphis. Now, Memphis will probably rest guys, but still, they're well coached. They play hard. Like, Oklahoma City, they should lose one of those games.
Right.
The question
the Mavs can get
I don't know if the Mavs, have they won back-to-back games with Kyrie and Luka playing together? I don't
believe
think so. So that, like you said, 5 straight, I don't see them doing that, the 5 straight. But sure, they can get in the playoffs. And like you said, if they somehow were to meet Denver, look, Kyrie, I don't know if people watched the game. The game last night, the dude is phenomenal. He is simply phenomenal as an individual.
Bruce back.
I'm not back. He's not?
No,
he is incredible. I think Luka's, like we talk about the role players, sometimes you just watch. I think Luka, sometimes it's like, amazed at what this guy is doing.
So this year, Wilds, Luka's the NBA's leading scorer in the first quarter, and Kyrie's the leading scorer in the fourth quarter. That should be a combo that works, but thus far it has not.
Fortunately, 4 quarters.
Yeah.
Before the game, Mark Cuban met with the media and addressed Luka's long-term future, among other things. Take a listen.
The players don't talk like that. It's just like, hey, I'm here for the next 17 years. He'd like to be here the whole time, but we got to earn that.
What would you say is the best way to earn that?
Win championships. It's amazing how, that cheers off. I mean, before Giannis won, everybody thought, where's he going? Where's he going? He's not staying. He's not staying. Before they, every Jokic, well, they haven't won yet, da-da-da-da-da. Every single player, Dirk before, right? There's just no player, no great player, no superstar where they don't question, what are you going to do if you haven't won yet?
Yeah.
Do you think the clock's ticking on Luka and the Mavs?
I think they knew it was ticking midway through this year, which is why they panicked and traded for Kyrie. And the day that happened, while due to my commitment to take integrity, I would not come off the Mavs for the season, what did I say? That this is going to be the third or fourth domino that leads to Luka.
Well, you said this will be the reason.
I said when Luka leaves, the acquisition of Kyrie will be in the first paragraph of the story as one of the major reasons because they've panicked. And what is unacceptable, so I think Luka's going to be a Miami Heat in 3 years. I'd be very surprised if he's a Mav. I'd be shocked if he's a Mav in 3 years if I had to pick a team. Yes, because, Brew, we've seen this exact blueprint before. Okay. So, and this is why it's unforgivable for the Mavs. So a very quick NBA history lesson. The New Orleans Pelicans draft a transcendent player in Anthony Davis. He is so good immediately, they try to microwave it. And they trade the number 6 pick and a future first for Drew Holiday. And they have something.
They had a lot of talent. They had Eric Gordon at his best.
Well, so hold up. So let me finish.
Some talent.
And then what happened to Eric Gordon? Eric Gordon, there's a little contract argument. He walks out the door for nothing. What does that remind you of? He goes to Houston. They just signs him outright. Then, as it's getting later and later, there's a mercurial star that's available if you'll trade some picks. And it's like, I'm not sure about the fit, but it's worth a try. And you lose more future flexibility to trade for DeMarcus Cousins. And it looks good for 6 weeks, and then it's over. The Mavs, traded 2 firsts for Chris Stapps. Let Jalen walk for nothing. Traded another first for Kyrie Irving. And now the clock is ticking. They have not built the right type of team around Luka. Luka is not perfect. He is not Giannis, right? But Giannis, by the way, had his own bugaboos, which were different than Luka's. Instead of being bad at defense, he seemed to get worse in the postseason until he didn't, right? There's no perfect players until they are perfect. But at least the Bucks were building a team that made sense. The Mavs have not. And no, I don't think Luka's got. By this time next year, we're going to be talking about Luka demanding a trade.
Wow.
It's going to be one of the stories.
Now, you talk about history of the NBA. One thing we haven't seen is an international player do that. All right? Dirk Nowitzki in Dallas stayed after they traded his buddy Steve, or not traded, let Steve Nash walk for nothing. They thought Steve Nash was on the decline. He goes on to win 2 MVPs and revolutionize the game to some degree. All right, and then Giannis, when everyone in the media essentially was saying, you got to get out of Milwaukee, dude. If you want to win, you better get out of there. Do what LeBron did. Do what KD did. He stayed. I mean, Duncan, who didn't grow up in America, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, like the international players. I'm not saying Luka can't, but so far they have not been the guys to say, you know what, I got to get out of here. Now, I do agree with you. Mark Cuban has been a very good owner. Obviously, since he's on that team, Dallas has become kind of one of those, franchises we all pay attention to. However, he's made some bad mistakes. All right, after they won the championship, he tore it down immediately. All right, didn't even give him a chance to repeat. I mentioned the Steve Nash thing, just letting him walk for nothing. Jalen Brunson and some of the other moves you mentioned. What they have to do is build the team better.
So is Kyrie part of that build?
I see, and that's why I want to hear Nick. I want to hear, because you did say, Kyrie would be the reason he demands a trade. I don't know what their relationship is like. Kyrie's playing well. I'm not giving him, there's talk now that will they give him a 4-year max? There's no way I'm doing that. But
you can't lose Kyrie for nothing.
Player option
because you don't have enough flexibility. You've traded a future first way down the road in order to get Kyrie. You still owe the Knicks a first that could happen this year, depending on what happens the rest of the way. Could happen down the road. And I want to make it very clear what I'm saying. Luka has 3 years left on his deal. And then a player option. So 3 years left on his deal.
So you think next year he's going to demand a trade?
No. So that's what I wanted to clarify. I think 1 year from now, the discussion all summer is Luka going to ask for a trade, like it was with Anthony Davis going into 2 years left on his deal. And then in that second to last year, what people are calling pre-agency, he did demand a trade, and then he was traded. They are on the clock. They feel they're on the clock. That's why they traded. There's no other reason they would have traded for Kyrie. They were the 4 seed.
No, I mean, they knew they lost something with Jalen Brunson. And even though they were the 4th seed, I mean, it was very close.
Yes, but they
could have easily been the 6th seed. And they said, let's bring in a player who's like Jalen, only better. And get what we got from Jalen and then some. And it backfired.
But a franchise, there's a reason there was not a major market for Kyrie this summer or at the deadline.
I'll get that.
They're right, because teams that weren't, the Lakers were a potential landing spot. They were desperate. The Mavs ended up being the landing spot because why would the Mavs be desperate? Because they're worried about Luka not wanting to be there. Like, that's the only reason they would have been desperate. They weren't like...
I mean, look, you got him locked up for several years. I don't think you have to make panic moves.
Okay, well, I think they did. Maybe they didn't have to.
What they need to do is figure out a way for Luka to play with superstars. Like, right now, it's my turn, your turn. That's what it is between him and Kyrie.
Sure.
First half last night, Luka has, I think 17 points. Kyrie had 6.
And then
through the three quarters, Luka has all of his 29 points in the first 3 quarters. Kyrie had 12.
Sure.
And then in the 4th quarter, Kyrie scores 19. Luka scoreless on 2 shots. It's my turn, your turn. They got to figure out how to incorporate Luka into an offense that is not just based around him. Because LeBron, Harden, Jordan, Westbrook, Oscar, none of them could win championships just as a one-man show.
You crushed that.
Thank you.
Lamar,
That was a 6?
that was great.
That was a 6.
Well done.